Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Are You Black? Here are your friendly co-hosts today, Aisha and DeVashi.
Wait. Friendly. Now I've
You
been
don't like
called.
friendly?
I've been called a lot of things, but I don't know if I've ever been called friendly. I mean, I'll take it.
We are
Yeah.
indeed friendly. We are super friendly people.
Oh yeah.
Okay, guys, you heard it here. I'm the friendly one, and DeVashi's not the friendly one. So if you run into us out here in the streets,
just look the other way.
Just look the other way when you see DeVashi.
But you can say hi. You can say hi to Aisha all day.
Yes, and I'm going to speak back. Okay. So DeVashi, were you what did you do as a child? Like, were you involved in any type of sports or like Boy Scouts or what did you do growing up?
So we moved around a lot as a child because I'm a military brat. So it's like every 2 or 3 years we moved somewhere differently. So it was really hard for me to really get into those types of activities. But
Sure.
the activity that I was a part of was band. I was on both the band and the choir. So it was like didn't matter where we went. I believe I started in band in 5th grade. And then I continued all the way up until my senior year of high school. But I had also joined the choir when I first got to high school. So I kind of had both of those type of community events and planning those shows and planning, I was in the marching band and the jazz band. So getting prepared for those concerts, stuff like that. So that's kind of where I got the that kind of camaraderie thing. I wasn't into the sports, but I was definitely inside of music.
So fun. So I was first chair in blank instrument, and I want you to guess what instrument that I played that I was first chair in high school.
First chair. Oh, I'm going. You know what?
You only get 2 guesses.
Okay. I'm going to say clarinet. That's one.
So typical.
Ain't it though? And then I'm going to just say something off the wall and say cymbals.
Wow. Yeah, no. I was a brass girl.
Oh, were you? I was too.
I was first chair trombonist.
I was first chair trumpet.
What? Look at
that. Yeah.
I started off playing piano as a child and I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And then I started to get bored. I think my 3rd year playing piano, I was like, okay, this is cool, but yeah, I want to do something different. And so I'm so sorry for anybody listening to this that was in the marching band, but my mom was in the marching band and she was like, she really wanted me to be in marching band because she loved it. And I was like, I thought the kids in marching band were like the super nerdy kids. Like I didn't want to be one of those kids. But it's crazy because I still was in band. I just didn't want to be in marching band. I was like, I can be in band and concert band, but I can't march. Like at the football games, like, no, I want to be out there hanging out with my friends. Like I don't want to be playing at the football game. So I was like, team no marching band, but I'd played concert band. We did a few jazz, small jazz concerts, but we traveled. We went to different places to perform, and we performed for the state every year actually. And we'd come home with awards. But I was one of the band players that also was in sports. So I was also in softball. I was a softball player, and I was in band. So I kind of had the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I wasn't really, that didn't really bother me. Actually, I didn't like concert band season, but I liked marching band season because you got to travel. Anytime we had one of the meets away and you're competing with all these other schools, you're kind of seeing who's better, or if you have a rival or whatever have you, because we had a couple of them where I came from, and my school, we were heel toe. So we were more of the military style of a marching band, but we were all black. So people thought we were high stepping and dancing, and that just was not us. It was not us. And we hated it, especially during parades. Hated it so I'm from Kinston again, and our biggest rival as far as band was Goldsboro High School, and they were the ones they were A&T. Their band directors came from
Oh, yeah.
A&T. So it was like everything they would come and shut our parades down every year. We were so mad because it's like we had it in us to do. So where we actually thrived was at our football games. That's where we got to
Yeah.
really be African American. So we would play all the we would play all the latest stuff. And I was actually the brass captain and also one of the arrangers. So I would arrange some of the music that we would do. See, most people don't even know this about me because I don't really tell nobody. But yeah, I used to arrange all the music.
Okay.
I was assistant drum major. So marching band was really big. And it's really funny because when I came to Central, I didn't join a band because they danced. And I wasn't used to that. I was used to a core style, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I went through almost 3 years at North Carolina Central before the band director ever knew I could play one instrument. And he only found out because I had to take a brass class. I was a music major. I had to take a brass class, and he handed me a trumpet. I'm just, he's like, wait, you mean all this time you knew how to play the trumpet? All this time? I was like, yeah. And he knew me very, very, very good. Jerome Reed was the band director back then. That's how me and Leo knew each other. Mm-hmm. And he was so upset. Like, he wouldn't even talk to me almost the rest of that class because he was like, all this time? Because he know I was a recognizable person in the music department. He knew me. I knew him, and he was like, why you never do band? I said, because y'all dance. And where I come from, we don't dance in bands. We heel toe. We do our lines. We do all this precision stuff. That's where I got. I don't care about your little shaking your tails.
That's awesome though. I really enjoyed being in the music space and being in the art space. It was relaxing and it was so different from softball, and I felt like I really needed that balance of like arts and sports. And so it was like having a way to be able to like be creative, and it was really therapeutic in a way, just being able to play and listen to just the beautiful sounds that all the instruments would make. And I started in middle school and played all the way up to high school until I graduated actually. And I actually love seeing my, band director, just be able to create something beautiful. And we would go from sounding like nothing and horrible to like, we're in this concert and we're all dressed in our all black. And we're on point, like our instruments are up as soon as he puts his hands up, and the way he's just looking at us and just moving us, and like we really started to get in it. I just love that feeling. But then I also love the feeling of being like at home plate. And and we're down, right? And it's like, okay, like you got bases are loaded, and like the music is blaring, like all I do is win is on, and I'm walking, and I feel like that girl, like just I'm at the home plate, and I feel like that girl's like, I'm about to knock this out the park, and just hitting it right over the center field's head, and seeing them run for the ball and take it off, and then everybody runs out the dugout, and they're like, yeah, like that feeling was like amazing. So it's like, I loved it. I loved all of it. And just being involved, I started playing like T-ball, right? Like that's how I started off. But just being involved in something really helped create character in me. It really helped to instill like the feeling of having a goal and reaching that goal. It really helped to me with just companionship, because all of my friends, either played softball or they were in the band, and we hung out with each other after school and on the weekends and the summers. And like the girls I played softball with, we hit the road together all the time. We were always traveling and going places, and those are the people who had my back when I had a bad day. And the same thing in band. So it just taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and I'm so grateful for those experiences.
It's about the community building. It's about having your own type of community with like minds, and we're all working towards the same goal. That is, you just cannot replicate that type of a feeling, that feeling of accomplishment, that we all came together and created nothing. We created from nothing into something. It's just amazing, and it's a type of feeling that you really want and need as a child.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have the creative director of a awesome studio that is coming on to the show next. And we're just so excited for y'all to hear how she and her husband have been able to create community through the involvement of children and adults, and kind of being able to provide a service to them that we feel like is unmatched and so needed within our community, because everybody needs an outlet and everybody needs a safe space where they can just express themselves.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back with our special guest. Hey, what's up? It's DeVashi from RDU Black Podcast. Have you checked out our website yet? We want to let you know that we are creating a Black-owned business directory. We would love for you to add your business or your favorite Black-owned business. We want to make sure that all of us are represented. So go over to rdublackpodcast.com. That's rdublackpodcast.com and add your business today. Let's grow together. All right, guys, welcome back to RDU Black Podcast. We have someone today. This is actually going to be one of the first people who actually reached out to us. So that's exciting.
Very exciting. We always appreciate our loyal followers and our loyal listeners, and it's always exciting when we can highlight people that come to us. That's how we know it's going to be a great episode, and we definitely want to highlight this business.
Expressions in Rhythm Studios is a family-owned business born out of love of the arts and committed to serving the community. They offer quality instruction virtually, as well as their family-friendly studio environment. Expressions in Rhythm Studio, the best performing art experience for your family. Their performing art studio provides students of all skill levels a fun and positive atmosphere to learn and express the art of standing out through the performing arts. Levels are sets of skills, abilities, and concepts in each genre that increase in complexity as a student progresses. Level 1 is a prerequisite for their classes. Students progress to level 2 and or are referred to another level by their class instructor based on their ability to understand and perform the curriculum. Preston and Belinda Brown serve as owners and directors. Today we have with us Belinda Brown. Everyone, please welcome Belinda Brown of Expressions in Rhythm Studios.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's the first absolutely fourth episode. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Hopefully it'll be the last one.
All right.
So welcome. We just wanted to thank you again. We really like our first person that actually we kind of put it out there and said, hey guys, y'all know some people in the area that want to join us on the podcast. You were like the first one. So hey, it works, people. Contact us. You could be on the next episode of RDU Black Podcast.
Yes.
So what made you kind of reach out to us? Because I know you're kind of a force to be reckoned with in the RDU area. And if people don't know about you, can you kind of let them know who you are and what it is that you're doing over there?
Sure. So I reached out to you because I have been a faithful listener to your podcast for the past couple of weeks. I enjoy the conversation and I wanted to be a part of it. So Expressions in Rhythm Studio is the full program that we offer. The Expressions in Rhythm Studio Dance Company is our competitive dance program, but overall, we are the premier performing arts studio in the heart of Raleigh, North Carolina. We are community focused and technique driven. That means that we specialize in dance and music progressive technique. So we offer a lot of classes at Expressions in Rhythm Studio. Some of the classes are Afro-African, ballet, hip hop, jazz, liturgical, lyrical tap, as well as djembe drumming. We have been in business since 2014, and I don't know what it was about the downtime of the pandemic, but it has allowed Expressions in Rhythm Studio to grow and thrive. We have grown 300%. Yes. We have grown so much that where we were located prior to the pandemic, we don't have enough space. So we're in the process of fixing up our new facility, and I'm very excited about that.
Wow. So you said 2014. So you're going into your, if my math is right, 7th year?
That is correct.
Okay. So
Lucky
you
number 7.
so you started to become a staple in the area. Because I know that reading some of your articles, people said, well, if you have been to an outdoor event in the Raleigh-Durham area, you are sure to have seen expressions. And I'm excited for our listeners to really kind of see what makes your business different. What makes what you're offering different to the community that we may not be used to?
Well, first of all, we're not just community focused. The Expressions in Rhythm Studio family is a community. We actually call ourselves the EIR Studio community. We are a Black owned business, but we are a multicultural family. So people that come to us come from all different ethnicities, all different types of families. It is not necessarily the traditional family where an expressor, which that's what we call our students, have a mother or a father. Maybe they're being raised by their grandmother. So to send out communication saying, dear parents, it doesn't fit.
Right.
So we started calling ourselves a community early on because we are a family-owned business. So I teach most of the classes. My husband teaches the drumming classes. My children are involved. My mother is the studio administrator. It is truly a family-owned business. And the minute you walk in the door or the minute you enter a virtual classroom, you feel like family. We pride ourselves on teaching progressive techniques. So we don't want anyone to say, oh, well, I'm not really learning here. I'm not really growing here. I have had expressors graduate from our program, go to college, and they're like, I'm learning in college what we learned 5 years ago in the studio. As a performing arts studio, we have multiple performances throughout our season. So we have a concert every June, and we have a performance showcase every November. The cool thing about our concert, it has a theme and an experience. So the last concert we did was called Let's Go Global, and we had dances and musical performances all around the globe. Most people would say, okay, how did they make hip hop into a Bollywood dance? We did it. How did they make tap into a Cuban dance? We did it. So this is what we do. Our motto with the Expressors is don't fit in, stand out. And that's what they do. And I'm just glad that I have an opportunity to lead such an amazing organization with an amazing community.
I'm glad that the community is starting to realize its importance for just culture, not just because we recently had the owner of Zwelly's on the podcast to kind of let people know about how she has added her culture to what's going on into her own local community. You're based in the Raleigh area, and so you're kind of adding again to that conversation. You're from New York. Both you and your husband are from New York. One from Queens, and I believe the other is from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Okay, Brooklyn. So you got Brooklyn and Queens, which are so far. If you've ever been to New York and you want to go from Queens to Brooklyn, it is so far. My best friend lives in Manhattan right now, and I was talking. I went to Queens one time. I said I want to go back because I was on the train for so long.
Yes.
But so y'all brought that bit of culture down with you. What is it about where you came from that you thought that you could bring down to us little country folk?
Well, first of all, y'all are not little country folk. And we've been down here for some time, almost 15 years now. So when we first moved down here, we did notice that there was a bit of culture missing from Raleigh, and a lot of people don't know that Baba Chuck Davis was originally from New York. So I knew him through the art scene, came down here. We chatted a little bit, told him that we were starting a performing arts studio, and he's like, great, let me know when. I want to stop by. And I was like, yeah, okay, Baba Chuck. And he did stop by, and he spent some time with us in our studio. We took pictures, and it was just such an honor, because if anyone knew Baba Chuck, they knew that he was not really one to, he was very protective of his image, and especially when it came to taking pictures with people. So that's a great memory that we have of him. I was so blessed to get his blessing when it came to bringing the performing arts to Raleigh. And we've been full steam ahead ever since. What we offer is different. We have our performance season, which is from September to June. And then we have our summer season, which is in July and August. The last week in August, we always offer what we call our community classes. We open our doors for a very small fee and just allow children in the community, ages 2 through 18, they could take any class they want to see if they want to be a part of the EIR studio experience. So a lot of times, I think maybe like 93% of children that tried our program last season signed up on the spot.
Wow.
And then we also have the Expressions in Rhythm Studio dance company, the EIR SDC. And I wanted to say so bad, I want you to say it 3 times really fast, because you were like, okay.
I was like, I'm struggling through it. Trust me. I'm going to go back and re-record that whole thing. You will never know what we're talking about. Absolutely not. I was like, these letters are taking me out.
They were.
I lost that fight.
But the cool thing about the EIRSDC is we are an award-winning dance company. And when children audition, it's like they're very serious about it, and they like start, and I'm like, calm down,
Oh, the babies.
Yeah, like we're not going to say no, you're not getting in, because with our studio being a progressive technique program, the EIRSDC is the same way. So everyone is guaranteed a spot in our dance company when they audition. It's just a matter of where they're placed and how many times they compete. So that's the only difference. But that's been an amazing experience also. I mean, these expressors that are part of the dance company, they travel all over the country. They've been to Orlando. Some of them, it was their first time out of Raleigh, forget just North Carolina. But it was their first time out of Raleigh. They win. I have a couple that you can see, like most entertaining. And that's just doing them. That's just, shining on stage. And we always have like these massive studios come up to us and they're like, how do you come up with these concepts? And I'm like, I don't
know. Just a little something I do.
That's just your gift.
But yeah, it's so amazing to see them shine on our stage, as a performing arts studio. We have performances throughout the season. So we have our performance showcase in November. And then we have our performance concert in June. And we always say that it has a theme and an experience. And it's just been great. It's been magical.
I love that. I was wondering if you could touch on some of the children that have tried out your classes. Maybe they came to a class or two and now they really love dance. I just want to see if you can you talk about just the love that children get and develop over time for movement and for dance and for expressing themselves? And have you had someone kind of come out their shell that they kind of started off maybe like not really feeling this, and then they kind of kept coming, and then they found their niche, and now they're very serious about it, and it's like their favorite thing to do, and they love the drums, and they love music, and they love moving their body, and they feel so much better afterwards, and it's a good way to kind of get rid of steam and anger and maybe even lack of self-confidence. I can only imagine that the preteens are dealing with. So can you talk a little bit about your experience with those children, and kind of have you seen them progress and develop over time?
Yes, I can. I have 3 that stand out for me. The first is a young man who joined our program, and it's common knowledge there's not a lot of male figures in dance. It's mostly a female-led industry. And, his mom said to me, he loves dancing. He always wanted to dance. I just don't know if I want him to do it. And I get it. Coming from this industry, it can be brutal. I am not the average size dancer, so I know how tough the industry can be on anyone who does not look as they would like them to. So this young man came to our program. He was extremely timid, very quiet, did not want to participate in much. And I had to pull him aside, and I said, if this is really what you want to do, you have to do it for yourself.
That's right.
And I don't know what that did for him at that moment, but he just blossomed and has been a joy to watch him be comfortable in who he is, and give me ideas. I love when expressors give me ideas, because that means they're so involved in our program that they see a place for themselves in it after they turn 18.
You call them expressors.
Yes.
Where did y'all grab that term from?
Since our name is Expressions in Rhythm Studio, we feel that every child should have the right to express themselves freely. And whatever that looks like for them, express yourself.
Yes.
So that's why we call them, So that's why we call them expressors. If someone calls them students, like if we're out at a performance, we performed for Spiritual Awakening when it was on the air, and the host called us students, and one of our liturgical expressors, she was like, "We're not students."
That's right.
Like super offended, and I was like, first of all, this is a spiritual program. But like she was highly offended. We're not students, and I was like, yes, you're not, but they don't know that. So
that's good training.
That is awesome training.
Absolutely. Call us by our names.
Yeah, so they take being called expressors very seriously. I have, she's not 5 anymore, but at the time she was 5 when she joined our program, very outspoken, very, I know my right from my left. You don't have to point, or you don't have to. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. So we're going through the program, teaching the dances, and for ages 5 through 7, which is our mini program, they have combination classes. So we always tell parents, you get 2-for-1 classes. It's tap and ballet, as well as jazz and hip hop. So this expressor was in our tap and ballet, was doing really well, was just very, very passionate, and spoke her mind at such a young age. And at the end of each season, before we have our concert, we always have them write something, and it's called Why I Enjoy Being an Expressor. And I give them the paper, and they just write on it, whatever they feel, however they feel. And all this expressor wrote was, I enjoy being an expressor because Miss B lets me talk and never tells me to be quiet.
Yes.
But I was like,
oh wow. And that could be the only like space that she has where someone is listening and she's able to talk.
That's major.
I mean, that's major. That oh my gosh.
And
That's
that's what her
life-changing.
mother, that's what her mother told me. She said, people always tell me she should be tested and she talks too much. And she says, you just let her talk. And I just, take her energy and put it into dance. So as she's talking, I said, okay, let's do toe heel. You're not doing toe. Come on, let's do toe heel. And she's like, and then I had lunch and I had applesauce. I'm like, yes, okay, that's so great. But she's getting all of her energy out, but still dancing. And performs well on stage. The last one, I said I had 3. So the last one is, she was a teenager in our program. She has since graduated out, but was having some major home inconsistencies.
Sure.
And was just coming to the studio so defeated. And gifted dancer, gifted performer, was not doing what she needed to live up to that potential. This expressor was not looking for a career in the arts, but she still needed to use it to the best of her ability. So one day, she was in the back of the studio and just sitting and crying. And I said, whenever you're ready to come back to class, I'll leave this door open. And she just nodded her head and came back to class, and like nothing was wrong. So fast forward a couple of months, I was backstage getting ready for a performance, and she came up to me and she said, Miss B, thank you. And I'm like, for what? She's like, just for being you. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I started laughing, not thinking anything of it. And she was serious. She said, no, just thank you. You just don't know what you mean to me. And we don't know what we mean to people.
Right.
I was taught early on by my parents, kindness goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
I bring that into Expressions in Rhythm Studio, and I expect the same out of every expressor that crosses our door, that they're going to bring kindness in the studio, and when they leave the studio, they're going to bring kindness into the world.
And it's not just about dance, and it's not just about the music. It's about what those kids are learning. It's, when you're a community, you're like you said, you're teaching kindness, you're teaching dedication. Anybody who's ever played a sport, or anyone who's ever signed up for dance and or anything similar to that, especially as a child, it's about the companionship and about the friendship and the friends that are there. You probably have some expressors that continue coming back because of the community that you have created there. And sometimes it's about meeting goals as well, learning at that very young age how to set a goal and how to achieve it, how to learn a routine and how to knock it out the park, right? From the beginning, from the ideation all the way into being on stage and killing it. And that feeling is unbeatable. Like you can't get that anywhere else. It's that feeling of accomplishment, and it's internal, right? Because you're the one who has to push yourself through every practice, through every rehearsal, every time you fell on the ground, every time you missed a beat, every time you were just mad and frustrated because you had all these external forces going on at home. You don't know how many kids dance hungry. You don't know how many kids dance and had just other serious things on. You don't know how many kids dance that was not really performing and doing well in school and in class. And so it sounds to me that Expressions Rhythm Studio is it's a community, it's a home, and it's a safe space for kids to express themselves and to just be them and to do that freely, like you've already said before. And that's a beautiful thing, and that's unmatched. And so many kids need that. Not even kids, just even as a community, even for adults, we need that more than we ever know, because there's so many external things that we go to on social media. There's people that places that kids go that's not a safe space where they learn unhealthy habits, right? And they lack sense of community, and they feel isolated, and that's how they end up in some of these really terrible situations because people neglected them and rejected them, and they didn't have a space to go and just be creative and be themselves.
Yes, it's, we pride ourselves on teaching the expressors tangible life skills, not just what they can learn in dance and music, but in life. Since we are in our community, we do have a lot of expressors who take on summer jobs and they don't know how to interview. So one of the things we teach them before each performance, I always say, your performance is not complete without a smile. So they always learn that, and they can recite it with no problem. So guess what they do when they go on interviews? They smile. And they always get the jobs. And they say, well, you taught us that. So we know that when we're in the presence of other people, to smile. And it just, a smile just changes everything about your appearance. I think there's a song called "You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile." That's probably where I got it from. In a musical theater class I took like 20 years ago or something, but yeah.
So you guys not only offer dance, but you also offer instrumentation training and learning and all of that as well. But you said that you also incorporate acting as well in your performances. So it's like it's this amalgamation of just a whole lot of art in one place. What is it about creating just a complete space that really makes your juices flow?
Well, I know that coming from New York, it's always important to have the total creative package. So it's important to know how to sing, how to dance, how to act, how to play an instrument. And it was, from what my research showed, in North Carolina, you had to only go to a dance school or only go to a music school or only go to a theater school. So we started incorporating a little bit of everything without saturating our initial program. So right now, we have djembe drumming, which is a West African drum that complements our African class because we teach West African dance in that class. And then with our concerts, not being recitals and not just having the dance and the music component, the acting part tells the story. So I can't say too much about that because we are adding another component to our program that will allow expressors that really want to hone in on that craft to take a couple of classes.
It's coming. Come on, exclusive.
However,
you heard it first here out. RDU Black.
However, we do incorporate the acting piece into our concerts, and it's always fun when our audience laughs or they'll quote a line from the concerts that we have. I believe season 2, we did a concert called Back in the Day. So we went from the 1960s until 2010, I believe. And it was a lot of fun because one of our community members was like, I really want to be in this. I was like, okay. So whenever it came time to do our time travel, we would play the song Back in the Day by Ahmad. And she would grab on to the expressors and say, come on, let's take a ride. So for like 6 months, that's all everybody was saying. Come on, let's take a ride. Come on, let's take a ride. And I'm like, all right, y'all know we're not doing that recital again, or we're not doing that concert again. So yeah, they were kind of disappointed because if it was up to them, Back in the Day would have been the concert to go to all the time. But it's always a lot of fun because it allows the expressors to see themselves in a different way that, they never thought they would get on stage and act or We have our community members, whether it's a parent, an aunt, an uncle, they want to be a part. And then a really neat part about our concert is it's always the day before Father's Day. So if anyone knows anything about the Black community, fathers are not always revered in our community. And we hear a lot like, oh, well, fathers are absent. No, they're not. You just don't know people that may have dads, but they always have that father figure presence in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
So part of our concert is we actually have a father-daughter dance experience.
Ooh, that's nice.
And yeah, so that's a really cool part of our concert. So people will say, well, every time I hear the song My Girl, I think about, the first concert you did, or when I hear the song I'll Be There, I'll think about Moonwalker, because that was one of the concerts we did. So yeah, it's just very different, very unique, but it works. And it didn't always work. People didn't always get it. But now they want to be a part of the concert experience. They want their child to be a part of the experience. And we even have the dads and uncles that they're like, what song are you doing this year? And I'm like, I don't
know. I don't know. What song do you want to dance to?
Like, everybody's just excited, and that, that makes me grateful.
I saw that you guys have partnerships with some of the local high schools and other schools, whereas that being a member of Expressions and Rhythm Studios, they actually get credit applied. So, and then I also saw that y'all also offer a scholarship. So you're actually working with them scholastically, not just as a community organization, but also something that they actually can use in their own schooling. How'd that come about?
So my dad was a huge part of this process, and unfortunately never had an opportunity to see it come to fruition. And he was a big proponent in secondary education. So when it was decided, okay, we're going to start this business, didn't have a name, didn't know where we were going to have it. He's like, yeah, you really need to do this. Like, it's needed down here. And then the next year, when he was no longer here, one of my brothers said, no, seriously, you need to do this. So we started putting it together, and it was important for my father to have a role in the business, even though he was no longer with us. So the scholarship is actually named after him. Nice. And that's why we have our concert the day before Father's Day. That's why we have the father-daughter experience. I was fortunate enough to dance with my father many times. And I feel that every little girl should have an opportunity to dance with their dad or their father figure. And what better place on stage? So we have partnerships with local schools. We actually had our Express After School program in a couple of the elementary schools, as well as one of the local performing arts schools. And our scholarship is awarded to the expressors who are graduating high school and going to a post-secondary school, whether it's a community college or a university.
Nice. So they don't have to continue on with dance. It's just, you're just applying for secondary education and you're eligible.
Correct. Education is very important. So I love the arts. I love being a part of the arts, but it's important that you're a smart dancer or a smart musician.
Right.
So whatever we can do to encourage them to continue their education, by all means, we're going to do it. And our scholarship is a big part of that.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. I saw that you had said actually in your intro that you're a part of it. Of course, your husband's a part of it. Your children are a part of it. Mm-hmm. Your parents are a part. Everybody's a part. Everybody. It definitely takes a village to make this thing happen. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of talk about the importance of making sure that your family is a part of what you're doing, because that's not always the case with every business. But I believe, especially with Black businesses, we like our four and no more sometimes, and then other times we're really building this thing together. We're building this arc together, and it's good to kind of see that progression even with just the family members.
Yes, I have been very fortunate when it comes to my village. So my husband, I've known forever. I don't want to tell my age, but I've known him a long time. And when I always call it assignment because it wasn't something I initially wanted. But when this assignment came to me, he just said, whatever I need to do, just let me know. And he's truly done that. He's a marketing guru. He always says that I'm the person in front of the scenes and he's always the person behind the scenes. So a lot of people, they know him as the djembe instructor, but then there are people in the community that they know him as the first face they see when it comes to Expressions in Rhythm Studio. And then my children have both been a part of our business. My daughter, she's an award-winning dancer on her own.
Go check her out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She's a beast.
Amazing.
She really is. And the great thing about her is she's all about body positivity. Even on Instagram, she's just so many girls and boys just look up to her because she's just such a positive force, and she just has a light about her that it's just undeniable that she's meant to be part of the arts. My son is, I always say my daughter's a beast on the dance floor. My son is a beast with the musician artistry. He plays djembe, piano, and the violin. He has been first chair in violin as well. He's amazing when it comes to the musical instruments, and he's the assistant djembe instructor. So since our business has grown 300% in less than a year's time,
full stop.
Okay.
Say that again. Say that again.
So when we went virtual because of the pandemic, we didn't know what we were going to do as far as pivoting our business, if our business would survive, if anybody would even want to take classes virtually. And from March 16th, when we initially took our program online, until I'll say February 28th of this year, we've grown 300%. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because some businesses, they didn't make it through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And especially when we're talking about Black businesses, where it's like, it's really our community that really helps push and provide for those particular businesses. And when those businesses have to shut down, it's like, okay, so what do they do then? But you figured out a way of flipping it and reversing it.
Yes.
Yes.
So kudos to you guys. 300%. That is amazing.
We have had some people on our show, some of our guests on our show, who are also married and are entrepreneurs. But besides Zwelis, and if I'm wrong, DeVashi, let me know. I believe that besides Zwelis, this is one of the first couples that we have that's actually in business together.
Right.
And not just in business kind of doing their own thing, but actually like in business together. So what advice do you have for those married couples who are actually in business together? And how do you, kind of separate your personal life from your, your business? And, kind of what do you guys do to keep it hot and fresh and keep the fire going, especially in times where things are speeding up your company's growing by 300%. You're busy, you're slammed, but at the same time, you're somebody's wife and your husband is somebody's husband, and then you have children together. And so can you talk a little bit about that, balancing that family life, especially for our listeners who are entrepreneurs themselves or business owners themselves and in business with their spouse?
Sure. I would say, number one, keep a date night.
Come on.
So
wait. Let me take notes. Hold on. Let me get back to my page. Okay, please proceed. Please proceed. I'm ready.
So definitely keep a date night. And since we have studio classes nightly until 8:50, by the time I get home, it's usually about 9:30. So we have late date nights, but we have date nights. And we have had one since we started the studio. So you can calculate
Right.
a date night every Friday night for the past 7+ years. We've done it. We've never missed a date night. And it's important because if I'm too tired to keep my marriage fresh, then I should be too tired to do anything else.
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
So, yeah.
Portable, right. Listen, I'm typing away. Now that is really good advice. Yeah. And Leo had said something very similar. And so, like I said, it's not very often that we have these conversations with two people who are married in together. And we definitely know that exists in the RDU area. And so I think it's very important for us, as millennials, to learn from every generation of business owners that have it together, because we're kind of from a space where we're still starting out. We kind of have this idea and we're trying to do both. A lot of us are still, we have our side hustles and our passion projects, and then we're working full time. Like, we're still trying to figure it out. But I love, looking at those that are more seasoned in their business, and they're running it, and then they have these beautiful, successful marriages, and they have children. I'm like, okay, it is possible to do it all. It is possible to do it all, and to do it right, because we don't want to see any of our marriages fall apart. We don't want to see any of that happen. We don't want to see businesses fail. We want to see everybody succeed, especially in this RDU area, and be able to support each other. And so I think that solid advice like that, just continue to pour into your love for each other and making time for each other through the busyness and the chaos.
You gotta be intentional.
You got to be intentional. And I bet you would even back me up and say that your business wouldn't be half successful, as it is today, without the support of your husband, and likewise without his support of his wife, because together you all probably do better than apart.
Yes.
So, yeah,
absolutely. And that comes to my second point, which I probably should have made my first point. Listen. It's just that simple. There are times, since I work the front of the business and he works the back of the business, as I'm the creative director, he's the artistic director, there are times where our visions may not be aligned. And it's not about his vision being better or my vision being better. It's about which vision works best for Expressions and Rhythm Studio. Mm-hmm. So that's where the listening comes in, because we believe in working smart, not hard. And my dad used to have a saying, measure twice, cut once. So if we have conflicting ideas or plans and we just listen to one another, instead of trying to make it make sense, it will on its own make sense. And there are times that, I'll give in, I'll say, okay, fine, whatever. You feel it's going to work. I have to trust you. And he'll look at me and I'm like, okay, yes, it works. I'm glad I listened. So it's important to listen. It just stops so much conflict. And third, delegate.
Yes. Come on.
I make sure that the people that work with me, I don't say for me, because we are a team and I couldn't do what I do without them. But the people that work with me are great at what they do. So if I want to go on vacation, I remember the first time I took a like legit vacation while the studio was still having classes, I was a nervous wreck, and it was so smooth. They didn't miss a beat, and they're like, Miss B, why were you so nervous? I was like, I don't know. And I was calling constantly, and they're like, we're in class. Can we call you back? We're in class. And then my mother, she's the studio administrator. So she's at the front desk, and she's like, why do you keep calling? They're fine. Like, leave them alone. So delegating is extremely important. It has been a lifesaver on so many different occasions. It's allowed myself and my husband to have a life while our vision is growing. And that's my advice for married couples. And it can work. It absolutely can work. Don't listen to these statistics. They say 55% of couples end in divorce. And if you own a business together, just double that. And I'm like, well, that means that none of us would work.
Oh, no. Right. Oh, no. Some of us, we're going to work.
Right. We're going to work. So if you just do those 3 things, have your date night, pick a night, any night, but stick to it. Make sure you listen to one another, and make sure you delegate tasks to somebody outside yourselves. You'll be fine.
That's nice.
I love that. All right, Mrs. B. So one of my favorite questions to ask on RDU Black podcast is, what do you use to pour into yourself? Is there a book that you read, a podcast that you listen to? Is there music that you listen to? Is it dance in your case? Kind of what do you do to fill up your cup at the end of the day, at the end of a really hard week? What do you do to fill up your cup so that you are a go-getter, you're positive, and you're like in class the next day, happy-go-lucky Miss B, just kind of staying positive and staying energetic?
So I am a morning person, which I know probably sounds a bit odd since I teach classes at night, but I am a morning person. So the first thing I do when I rise is I pray. I believe that I can't do anything without my higher power, who is Jesus Christ. And once I pray, I stretch because I'm getting older. So I do a great stretch in the morning.
Yes.
It's probably a combination of yoga and Pilates, but I don't know what exactly you would call it. And then I read. And I have 5 books that I read a chapter out of currently. And then once those books are complete, I just add a new book to the rotation. And I don't know if I can name the books, but I have 5 books.
We believe you.
Yeah.
We believe you.
I love that.
And then I always take time for myself. So whether it's just an additional maybe 30 minutes, and I'm not a news person. I feel that the world is a bit complicated still. It's not as complicated as it was a year ago, but it's still a bit complicated. So I don't want to just pour that into myself very early in the morning or very late at night. So in the morning, before I really get my day started, I watch something silly on TV. And before I close my eyes at night, I watch something silly on TV, just to turn the brain off, just so whatever the day has given me, I know that that day is over, it's done, and tomorrow is a new day.
Yes. I love that morning routine. I do something similar, and I can tell the days that I skipped it. Like, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. And I just like hop right on the computer. Those are not my best days. But the days that I get up and I actually I'll work out, I'll go outside, I'll do jump ropes, I'll go for a walk or something. And then I will pray and I read my devotional. Those days are my best days. I'm just energetic. My mindset is right. And I've okay, I'm kicked it off. Let's do it. I'm an early riser too. So I'm I have to start 6:30, and then it really makes my day just a lot better. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes, of course.
6:30.
6:30.
God.
6:30. That's why sometimes I'm texting DeVashi or sending him an email at 7:30 and he's like not respond, like he won't respond like 2 p.m. and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, get up, the day's already started. And he's like, he's out like
till about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I am still asleep. Absolutely no. 6:30. Woo!
6:30. You gotta get up, Miss B. No, you gotta get up and get at it.
Yes. You wouldn't like my early rising routine. I get up at 5.
Mine.
Yeah.
Well, I read an article that the most successful people actually are early risers. So they
So
did
what are you
an
trying
article.
to say, Aisha? What are you trying to say?
That maybe you should set that alarm back and get up at 6:30. I'm gonna try to get on Miss B's level and try to get up at 5. I'm trying to think the earlier the better, because then I feel like I have got so much stuff done, and now I'm ready to start my day. Like I'm trying to get there. I'm trying.
I'm doing good at 8 o'clock of waking up at 8 o'clock. I'm really doing good. Like it used to be like 9:30, 10 o'clock, especially with this pandemic. But I'm doing better. It's about 8:30. I'm gonna work my way back to maybe your 7:30, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Miss B, if you could take a moment and just speak a word of encouragement to all the current and or future Black RDU entrepreneurs that may be listening today.
Yes, I have 3 words for you. Don't give up.
Nice.
That's really all I can tell you. We had days where I would look at my husband and I'm like, you know, the meme where he's like, mm-mm. And that was all I would do. Like I had no words. And whether it was something didn't go the way I wanted it to go, didn't go as planned. You know, there was something that just transpired during the day that just didn't feel right in my spirit. And I felt like, I don't deserve this. Like I deserve better than this. Mm-hmm. Why am I doing this? And whenever I felt like I wanted to give up, I never gave up. But I never gave up because that's not how I was raised. That's not who I married. Like I didn't marry a man that gives up. So my husband wouldn't let me give up, even if I tried. And I didn't raise quitters. So I don't want my children to see me give up. And they're like, oh, I could give up too. So I always tell entrepreneurs, whether you are thinking about going into business for yourself, you're in business and you don't know what road to take, don't give up. Don't give up. And I'm going to add on that, don't give in. Stay true to who you are. There have been so many times that we have received calls saying, do you offer this class? We don't. Oh, I would really want to take this class at your studio. Okay. We don't offer it. I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, I would rather be known for having this great teaching and performing experience for our expressors instead of being a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
Niche down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up for Miss Belinda Brown of Expressions in Rhythm Studios. Woo-hoo! Here on the RDU Black Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So let everybody know how they can contact you guys. Give us your website, your socials, where you're located, all of that.
Yes. So you can reach us through our website, which is www.eirstudio.com. You can give us a call at 919-803-7028. And you can also reach us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is @EIR Studio.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get your kids in there. She must have the patience of Job to deal with all them kids. especially the ones that keep talking. I don't know if I'll ever be a volunteer, but that's why we got good old Miss B, because DeVashi can't do it. But we have found somebody who will. Absolutely. The patience of Job. Thank you so much, Belinda, for joining us. This was absolutely a wonderful, wonderful interview, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.